Hey y'all, welcome to the Filling Station. It's a new day, another opportunity to either make money in the market or to learn from the market, right? So let me go ahead and give my disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I just enjoy teaching people how to build generational wealth, and the stock market is just one of those avenues. This video is for educational purposes only. With that being said, y'all, let's get started. So we are looking at the VIX. And as you can see, we have been creating this gathering spot, ever since pre-market. I always try to go to the 4 o'clock candle, and this is our area, our zone, right? So it looks as if the support area is around the 1480. We did drop down here, but as you can see, price came back to this area. So around the 1481 area is our support, but we do have resistance right there at the 20 EMA, which is about at the 1483, which is not far. So as you can see, we're trading in a very tight range. So the VIX will need to break above this 1483, knowing that we're going to have trouble at 1507 and 1515. So those are our trouble places to the upside. Keep in mind, if the VIX go up, that means the SPY normally comes down. So if by chance we break this 1515, then 1602, looking at this 30-minute chart, is our another area of trouble resistance, let me say that, and that's the 200 EMA on this 30-minute chart, right? So the VIX looks like it's just it may come back up and test. And remember this 1577, we do have economic data coming out this week, so the market could do what it does, right? I always say trade what you see. So I always say watch these levels: 1496, 1547, and again 1547, 1618. I will watch those levels for the VIX and see if it climbs up to that, and it could very well continue down, because we are under, looking at it on this 4-hour, we are under the 200-day moving average EMA and the 5 EMA. So we are under those levels. I would watch this 1463. If we break this 1463, and I'm going to set an alert, excuse me, I'm going to set an alert there to let me know that we are under that amount. So we are looking at the VIX, and it looks like we're just going sideways or not really going anywhere, but that could change at any given moment. Again, this is pre-market. So let's go to the SPY. This is the SPY, and right now our support was at 509.37 and resistance is at 509.76. And as you can see, we did drop down here, but if you look where price came back to this area. So I always use that as my gathering spot. Yes, we did drop down to here, but price came back to meet at the gathering spot, is what I like to say, right? So the support area again is 509.36. The resistance is right here at 509.75. I will watch the SPY in that range, and know that if we break this level, I had 510.25, 511.17 as a level of resistance. And it looks like we are right here at the 200 EMA as support on this 4-hour chart. So we're right at support. If we hold here, let's say that, and just continue up, it is possible. However, if we break this level, 508.98, we could very well come down and test 508.16. Keep in mind, this gray shaded area is really close to the 50 EMA, which is 506.49. SPY does have a gap that needs to be filled at the 505.76 range down to the 504.28. So keep that in mind, that always be mindful of gap fills or gaps that need to be filled, and SPY has one very close. Let's say that. And SPY normally moves $6.76 a day, and yes, that does fluctuate. It changes. It is the ATR, which is the average true range of how the stock runs or how the stock moves on a daily basis, right? So again, looking at the SPY, we're trading in this zone. I will watch those areas and be careful. Trade what you see. Again, support is at the 509. 509.36, resistance at 509.77. We have trouble to the downside. Support at the downside at 508.59 and 507.41. Those are our areas that we need to watch for support if it decides to drop to the downside. So again, y'all, Tesla is Tesla. Let me say that. Tesla had a nice run yesterday, and this gray shaded area is just know that Tesla has gaps to be filled to the downside, and there's a gap here and there's a gap here. So right now Tesla is trading in this zone of 188.80, and that is support. Resistance is at 191.07, right at the 20 EMA here. Tesla closed at 194.05, so we are down from the close, yesterday's close, and we've been trading in this range. We are under the 5, we are under the 20 EMA, looking at it on this 30-minute chart. So we could very well, if we break support here at 188.80, we could come down and test this 186.52, which is the 50 EMA, which is very close to the 185.52, which is the ATR trailing stop. So if we break this level of support, we could very well come down and test this level of support, which is not far from this gap that needs to be filled to the downside. So I'm going to set my alert here under the 188.80. That means Tesla has broken through a level of support, and if it continues to the downside, my next trouble place or area of support will be closer to the 186 or 185 range. So again, if you trade Tesla, I always say trade carefully. Tesla had a really nice run yesterday, so today may be a cool off day. We don't know. I always say, y'all, trade what you see, but to the downside, we have support again at the 185.52 and at the 170.85. So it could, I'm looking at it on this 30-minute chart, it could very well come down, fill this gap, and find support. Again, anything is possible. Don't rule it out. I'm going to see Tesla right now is moving an average of $9.89 per day. So that's something to be mindful of, that $9.89. And yes, that did change from a couple of days ago. Let me say that. So looking at Tesla here on this 1 hour chart, we're right at support, which is the 20 EMA. Again, if we break that level of 189.65, we can come down to the 180.178 and then the 179.51, which puts us in that gap fill territory, that gap fill area. So if we, those are areas are, those are places that I will be mindful of with Tesla. 179.51, 181.78. and the 188.28, and we're right there at that place. So again, if you trade Tesla, trade carefully. Just know that it had a really nice run on yesterday. We do have economic data coming out this week. Today may be a cool off day to find support and continue bouncing. We don't know. Just know, again, trade what you see. So let's look at NVDA. NVDA is an inside day candle today. And let me give the gathering spot. Right now, our support is at 874.34. Resistance is at 877.25. And again, I look at the 30-minute chart, and I always go to my 4 o'clock candles to see where the candles are gathering, right? So those are our support places at the 874.34, resistance 877.25. We are right under the 5 EMA and the 20 EMA on this 30-minute chart. That's something to think about. And the 50 EMA is at 871.34. So if it drops below this area, it tested it once before, we can come down and break through this area because it has tested it before. And 864.21 is an ATR trailing stop to the downside. If we break that, we can come down to the 847.94. So those are things that I will be mindful of for NVIDIA to the downside. Let's look at the upside. I have the one, let's see, 866.78 and 892.19 as levels of resistance, previous resistance, let's say that. And yeah, I would say if I trade NVIDIA, I will trade carefully. Let me give you the inside day triggers. If it breaks above 879.92, then the target is 883.31. If it breaks under 852.66, then the target to the downside is 833.87. So keep in mind, NVIDIA does move an average of $43.30 per day. And it seems like, looking at it on this daily chart, I know it looks a little different looking at it like this. We were up. It seemed like we're trying to consolidate. Our 5 EMA here is at 850.28. So if it decides to come back down, just keep that 5 EMA on the daily chart, 850.28, in your mind or in your thoughts. Not financial advice, let's say that. But yeah, NVIDIA should be interesting today, at least, to watch. So let's see. We had another inside day candle, which was a double inside day, and I like Netflix is one of those. Netflix moves $19.69 per day. We've been creating this gathering spot for a few days now. Netflix has trouble here at the 5 EMA, which is at 564.31, looking at it on the daily chart. So I would say, be mindful of that area if you trade Netflix. I'm not sure what's going on with, not sure what's going on with my charts today. But if you trade Netflix, I would definitely say, watch those areas. Watch that area. I will give you the inside day trigger for Netflix. If it breaks above 559.34, then the target to the upside is 562.92. And if it breaks below 554.24, then the target to the downside is 553.19. So again, Netflix moves 1969 per day. If I traded Netflix, I would say be careful. We do have upside gap that need to be filled, and there was a downside gap that almost closed. So if you trade Netflix, I always say trade carefully. AMD is one that I had marked, and I cannot figure out what's going on with my charts today, but okay. AMD is one. There we go. Thank you. So the gathering spot, or the support for AMD, is at 160.12, and as you can see, we're breaking out of that, or have broken out of that. 160.12 was support. Resistance was at 160.60 or 160.56. We broke out of that. See how the candles gathered here, broke out of this area right here. MACD crossed, so that was a signal. That would have been a signal for an entry. We broke out of the gathering spot. MACD is a second confirmation, and we would have looked at this on, if you trade the 30-minute, a smaller time frame, we would have had other confirmations. So what do I see for AMD right now? We are going to have trouble at that 162.78, because that was a previous support and or resistance, looking at it on this 30-minute chart. And it seems like it's been moving up, as you can see here. From here to here, the candles seem to be going up. It does normally consolidate or create a gathering spot and then move to the upside. So if we break this area of 162.78, looking at this 4-hour chart, 167.77 is the 4-hour. It's the 200-day EMA on the 4-hour chart. And AMD again moves $6.38 per day. I would say trade carefully. It does look like it's wanting to move to the upside based on how it's trending now, making higher highs, higher lows. It's moving up. We are at a place of resistance here. If it breaks through this, we could very well continue climbing. So again, yeah, if you trade AMD, be very, very careful. I'm going to go back to Netflix now that my charts are moving. Netflix does not move pre-market, as you can see. It doesn't move a lot. As you can see, we're just here in this gathering spot. So just know that we are at the 5 EMA, the 20 EMA, and the 50 EMA here on this 30-minute chart. Trouble places are 561.54, and if we break through that, that gives us the trigger of 562.92 for that inside day. So if you trade Netflix, I would say be very, very careful. I would look at all of where the body of these candles are, which is at the 556.89. That seemed to be a support area and has been a support area for a while for Netflix. So if you trade Netflix, I would say definitely watch those places. So let's go back to the SPY just to get a recap of where we are. SPY is trying to break through this high. The high of this candle is 510. So I'm going to mark that as my pre-market high, even though even though the bodies of those candles came back to the gathering spot, right? I still need to remember that amount here, because we can break through that and continue climbing the 510.02. Let me rephrase that. So again, the support for SPY is at 509.37. Resistance is right here at 509.78. It looks like we're trying to break through that in 510.02. It needs to make a new high and close above this high. So if you trade the SPY, be very, very careful. Be mindful of that. And Tesla seems to be doing what Tesla does. It's riding, just creating a gathering spot, and then all of a sudden it just does what it does. It looks like it wants to trade to the downside, but again, not financial advice. Based on how it's trending, how it's moving, it is down. The low of this candle is 188.78. The high of this candle is 190.29. We closed at 194.05. So again, trade carefully today, y'all. If you're trading, if not, just learn from the market every day. Some days it's just, let me see what I can learn and take that knowledge and apply it to another day to where it can be a profitable day for me. So yeah, I hope these videos are very, very helpful, y'all. I hope that everyone have an awesome day today, a very profitable day. And I always like to leave you with this, y'all. Be blessed as well as a blessing unto others. Until next time.